Welcome back into another episode of The Deep Dive. Today I'm here with my grandma, Sarah Ribbons, and today we're going to take a deep dive into Sarah Ribbons. So, the first question is, what was your experience going through high school?
I had a great time at high school. I love school because it just give me, I'm from the country, so it give me an outlook on other people's lives, and I get to meet new friends, and learning was my thing. So I enjoy learning, I enjoy reading, and they had an awesome library I used to stay all my time with.
After high school, what did you do and how did that impact you now?
Well, after high school, I went to New York because it was the Big Apple. So I had a choice if I had a full scholarship to go to Texas A&M or going to New York. I chose New York because it was the Big Apple, and I wanted to live in the big light and all of this. So I went to New York, and it was fun, and it was ideal, and I love it.
Why did you choose to move to New York from South Carolina?
Because it was the Big Apple, and it was fun, and it was quiet, and I wanted a change of life. I didn't want to go to college right after, so I wanted to take a sabbatical, some time off, and regroup and rethink.
How did a move at such a young age impact your life and your character?
Actually, it opened me up to more people, and I was never shy, but I got to meet other people, and I got to meet different nationality. And my first experience was riding on New York City subway, and we never had that. So I actually was very happy with it.
How did you go about getting your first job and what was it?
My first job was working, well, my first job I worked straight out of high school, and I work in EEO, the civil rights area. And I went to got it from my school, and I worked because it was like a work program, and they put me to work, and I fell in love with it. So what I was doing is helping people, doing EEO. It's back then it was only with the civil rights. They helped people with clothing. We dealt with the summer lunches, and I got to find out that why a lot of kids didn't eat or didn't have books. So my first two paycheck that I got from them, I actually used it to purchase books for the houses that I would go to and ask them, if they had books. And I find the kids didn't have books. So I actually went to the different places at the bookstore that we had and purchased a lot of books and magazines, and starts send when I came from work, I would take certain people the newspaper, because out there in the country they didn't have all of that. So I wanted to ensure that they know what was going on and staying informed. So it was fun.
How did that job help you get into the position you are in now?
Well, I'm still with the government. I'm like almost 40 years in, and it helped me because I'm still helping. So I actually went into, still stayed in the EEO form, but I was doing it at a higher level. I was the civil rights officer for the whole base, so working hands in hand, and then there it was more in depth. It was great. So that what I did then helped me to do what I do now, and a little extra.
When it came to education in college, how was that for you?
I really went back to college when I had my baby girl. You laugh at your mommy. And I wanted to make a change. I wanted to do something that was outstanding. I wanted her to be proud of me, what I did. So I went back to college. I discovered people, like I'm a people person, so I discovered more influenced people with different things, and getting in different organizations and all of that. So it's influence, and I went on to get my master's degree in different areas where I could influence and bring it back to my job. So what I was learning on the job, I could apply it to what I did.
Did anyone doubt your ability when it came to school or knowledge?
a lot of people, because there are a lot of, but you have to keep your head. A lot of my coworkers was asking, "Why are you doing this? What you doing this for?" And my response to them, I was doing it for me. I wasn't doing it for nobody. I was not trying to influence nobody. I'm not trying to make anybody happy, but it was for me. So since I like education, and I inspire others to go, so well, one of the payoff was some of the people that was asking me why I was doing this and why I was trying to be such an influence on everybody else. They, my surprise is they said, "Hey, look, I'm going to school just like you too. Look, I got this class," and asked me to help them pick classes that they want or need, or the school they went. So I'm like, a community college could be good if that's what you want, or you can go to a 4-year college. It depends on me, because I started out in a 2-year and I went to a 4-year, then I went for my master. So, you know, it doesn't matter, it's desire. So you have to be true to yourself, and that would inspire others.
Was it difficult to balance all of this with having a kid and then a grandkid?
Sometimes it was hard, but it seemed like my husband, my daughter, and my grandkid that I had, yourself, they kind of understand what I had. In fact, everybody kind of pulled together and kind of helped me out. I can remember when I graduated from got my associate degree, one of my most important memory was you yourself, and you were very young, going, "Yay, grandma, go grandma, that's my grandma." And that, oh my God, that made me feel so proud of myself, because I did something that my daughter and my granddaughter love.
And my mom, your daughter, was telling me about how for one of your degrees you were like one of the only like 10 to graduate because the course was so hard. And they weren't
Yes.
expecting you to. Could you talk about that?
Yes, because the classes were, at the time, I was going through a lot. Your granddad wasn't well. Your mom's, were kind of taking care of it, and he was doing all kind of things. He was sick, and so he was going through a lot. So what I had to do was I went at night, and the class was long because I had to work all day. And then I went to class from like 6 o'clock until about 10 o'clock, and then I had to do a project after that. So sometimes I get home at 12, and I had to drive from where I work at, and so it was tedious. And then I'm like, gosh, I don't know. And sometimes I'm like, I can't do this. I could do it. And your mom told me, yes, you can. Just do it. Just try. Go ahead and do it. You could do it. So her belief in me make me believe into myself. And then I was able to go on and graduate. And so I feel when I graduated with my degrees, so did she. So I remember when I was going for my associate degree, and coming home from work, and I used to park in the back of the house, and I was going to not go to school that day, the college, and then she had her everything, and she would wait for me in the door. And I said, I'm not going to school tonight. I'm very tired. I had a loan, and it was tedious. And she's like, oh, yes, you're going. So she act like the parent. And so we go, because then I find out that she used to like to go to the library to do her work there. So, and then I would take her, and she would do her work at the library, and then half of the class, and when she would finish, I would go get her at break and brought her in, and she kind of motivated the whole class, because then she was asking questions and embarrassing. I was like, be quiet, little girl. But other than that, it was good.
How would you say your experience was while you were living in New York?
It was great. I mean, this is an experience of a lifetime, and I kind of live in all three of the boroughs. I live in Manhattan, I live in Brooklyn, and I live in the Bronx. So it was different, and so each one of them had the different critiques and the different type, and you're learning more and more about the world, and about people, and there's a multitude of races, there's a multitude of dialects and all of this. So I thought it was awesome.
And why did you end up moving out of New York?
Because then New York became not fun anymore. My job was transferring me, and I had an opportunity to move down there. And New York was so expensive, and I wanted to own a house. And I knew living in New York, I couldn't. I could own a house, but it wasn't what I want, and it was a better life condition. So I moved to Baltimore County, so I could achieve different things and show my kid that this too we could achieve together. So and New York was more for the young, and I was getting older, and like I said, I wanted to own property, and I could not own property there as easy as I could do it down here. So that's why.
And how was it, like raising a kid, like moving from one state to another with a kid, and then raising it?
It wasn't bad. She probably, the first summer, I probably had every friend from her elementary school living with me because she was lonely and she didn't have no friends, and she thought so until she went to the first class of her elementary school, middle school. I went and drove the kids from New York back and forth, and then or the parents would pick them up, or when we did New York a lot and brought some of that life back and some of her friends back, so keep her engaged with a comfortable lifestyle. And then it worked out. Afterwards, she went to school, and she started making friends of her own down here. So then that it kind of numbed out. Life was the same for me. Other than that, backing up a little bit, when I were in New York, I couldn't drive. I mean, I couldn't drive. I didn't drive. I didn't know how to drive. So, because we had the subway system, you had transportation, all of that. And Baltimore County, you don't have all of that where I work at. I mean, to get so easily, so I had to learn to drive. So here, me at a certain age, learning to drive, and so I had to learn to drive. And my first long distance drive was driving from New York to Baltimore County to the house that we lived in. So, and I'm doing it ever since. So it's a little bit different.
And how has it been being a grandma, having grandkids?
I love it because I get to do things that I don't have to worry about it. I can spoil my grandbabies. I can do whatever I want to please, and I can leave and say, bye, y'all. See y'all later. You know, they're my besties. You know, they're all of them. I got 4 grandbabies, and you all my besties, you know, and they get to stay with me, and I get to take them home on a certain day, or I can say, oh, good. My daughter now got all of the responsibility, and I get the fun part of it. I don't have to discipline it if I don't want to, because when they tell me, you got to tell them how, you got to be tough with them, I just say, okay. You know, so, but as grandparents is to die for. It's the one thing that I love. I mean, as you could tell, you know, I spoil y'all crazy. You know, we get to do things, we get to go places, you know, we get to be outside because I'm an outside person. So some of you guys love to be outside, others don't, but I enjoy every last one of you.
And what is an important life lesson that you learned during your life that you still adhere to this day?
Forgiveness. You have to learn to forgive what people do to you or things happen, and live life in the moment. But live, you know, you have to learn to move on. You have to learn to be one with yourself. It's okay to be by yourself, but you have to be okay with it. And live and be true to oneself, and that comes by living life as you please. You know, sometimes what people think of you, it's okay. They can think whatever you want, but what's important is what you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself. And I'm always asking you guys, how do you feel about it? How that affect you? Because me, I could live with it. I mean, if you worry about what people say to you or say about you, you'll be in a funky mood the whole time. But now, if you care about yourself and you know yourself, be happy with the skin you're in. I'm not talking about your skin tone. I'm talking about where you at in the world, in here, in your heart. So that's
Okay, that was everything. Thank you so much for joining me for the last episode of
Oh,
the Deep
thank you for
Dive.
letting me be the last one.
Yeah, you're the finale, so thank
Yay.
you. Okay, and that was the final episode of the Deep Dive, and see ya.